right, now we'll do the outside tour. So first, show you the sauna. The wood burning hot tub. So we fill this up with wood back here. And gets it pretty hot in about 1 to 2 hours. Say about 2 hours, depending on how hot you want it and the ambient temperature. And you could drain it. Really nice setup, especially in the cold, especially on a clear night. And then here's our wood stack, which we use to fill the hot tub or the sauna. And this is the barrel sauna. Probably the best outside therapy that we have. And this is the traditional steam sauna. So you have the little add this onto the stones as they heat up, and sitting here for, I prefer, 45 minutes to an hour, and get a really good sweat on, and usually have an electrolyte drink out there and a good amount of water. And I really like sweating at least 3 times a week minimum is the goal. But this is really powerful. I've been doing it for years with the electric type. I've had 3, 4, 5 different electric saunas with those carbon black emitters that use a lot of electricity, that are not off-grid friendly. And I went through phases where I would use it every day for 3 months, 6 months. I've sweated extensively for years, and I feel like that was a huge reset from the first 3 decades of my life, or 2.5 decades of just toxin accumulation. And I think some people say, oh, you're not getting rid of as many toxins as you think. You feel it. I always feel the mental clarity after I sweat. Sometimes people see the towel changing color even after they're showered, because you sweat out metals, including iron, also some copper if you have excess copper, or zinc. So you have to replenish shilajit electrolytes. But it's a really powerful way to detoxify and just cleanse from city living and from accumulating who knows what. So I don't really need to see the science to know that I feel incredible from using the sauna. And there is science showing that it reduces all-cause mortality by about 40% if you do use the sauna about 3 times a week, 3, 4 times a week, something like that. So pretty powerful. And someone actually left a little water in here, so I'm gonna dump that out there. Try to keep it sanitary. Yeah, it's nice to kind of come outside and cool off and then go back inside. And this, you would think this would take hours to heat up. It's ready to roll in under 30 minutes. So it's pretty fast. Of course, it depends on the ambient temperature, but it's surprisingly fast to heat up. And then fortunate to have a lake here. So this is nice to fish in, to kayak in, to row the boat in. And it's surprisingly a good workout with the rowboat. You can get pretty fast, pick up some speed with that thing. And just a really, talk about nervous system reset. It's hard to be stressed out here. It's just super peaceful. If I'm feeling overwhelmed, I'll just come out here and just let go and just kind of relax and reset. It's just a really good calm place to kind of clear the mind. So if you can find a body of water, highly recommend that. There's Lyra. We had some company with the Mitolife team, so we've had some bonfires going there. So this is the future greenhouse over there, which is not up yet. And then extending the house out this direction to have more space. then the solar panels that power the house right here. So I have about 42 solar panels here. This is the newest array, and although we don't have much sun right now, you'd be surprised how many watts are actually coming in. So with living off grid, really the more batteries and solar that you can afford. So batteries are how much power you can hold, and then the solar is how much you can generate. And if you can get by even on a day like this, then you're sitting pretty, because you actually don't need to even tap into propane and the generator power, which, you know, you're depending on the grid at that point. But really exciting to finally get up this array. Eventually we're going to put another array way over there, because that's great amount of sun. But in the morning, the sun comes up over there, travels up through the sky, and of course it's lower in the winter, but goes all the way and then over that hill. And so this is just getting the best exposure right here. And let's actually go to the orchard. I'll show you right behind me here. So we have a gate to keep deer out, because animals will chew at the bark. So my girlfriend and I recently built this thing. Actually, have a bunch of mushrooms coming up. Those are brand new. It's like portobellos. So we got blueberry plants. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 currently right here. 11 blueberries. We got a row of apple trees. This Granny Smith is doing the best. And that's a hybrid at the end. You know, semi-dwarf. It's a Honey Crisp. This one's looks like it's ready for winter. That's the Fuji. And this one's, yeah, the apple pear hybrid. So kind of had fun picking out trees for the property. And by next year, we should be pretty set. A lot of these, I mean, the bigger ones are about a year or two old. This is a Santa Rosa plum. And I believe this is another plum, super tiny. Forget what that is. And then 2 cherries. So we got a sweet cherry, one more for baking, and then wasabi cherry. So then we plan on putting, you can see over here the 4 dark spots. Those are 4 future fruit trees that we're going to put next year. And there's still some work to do. We have more shredded bark on the way, and we're going to put down fabric. And the idea is, you could already see the grass coming up everywhere, to get a riding lawnmower and work smart, not hard. So I'll be able to just go in between these 6-foot diameter spots and still keep a nice area, but kind of clear in between the trees, and just be easy to manage, because you really don't want to be fighting weeds year round around your plants. So that's the idea why we, you know, put shredded bark on everything, so we don't, I mean, one, it retains the moisture and, you know, helps the plants, but it also keeps the weeds down. So we have a couple grapes. A lot of these are experiments. Goji berries, I think those are going to do better indoors in the greenhouse. Black raspberries, regular raspberries, which you can see they're taking off here. Already got a ton of them. The cameraman, look at that, nice, right off the, a lot popping up. And these are all getting that water that I showed you, the spring water, vortex through the analemma. So you can see a lot of these are popping off. Those are all, this one's, they're doing really well. And I mean, by next year, these will just be unbelievable and be taken off. We got Some plants over here. I forget if those are, I think those are, might be a type of raspberry. Maybe those are the black raspberries. I didn't plant all these myself. My girlfriend took over some of it. We got 4 strawberries right here, which we'll see if they survive the squirrels and other creatures that get in here. But this was the old goat pen for the OGs that remember. Bartholomew was over there. Lily and Rosie were over here. And I spent a lot of winters, well, 2 winters, blood, sweat, and tears, literally wrestling Bartholomew right over this fence here, getting rammed into the shed by myself. Thought I was gonna die, you know, just, these are their old waters. It's a labor of love to keep farm animals, and chickens are one thing, goats, cows, sheep, whole nother story. So to make life easier, what we thought is making a seasonal garden. Obviously this will be shut down in the winter for 5-6 months, but the rest of the year up in this climate in North Idaho, berries do really well. Pears, apples, plums, cherries, a lot of plants thrive up here. Even though it's a short growing season, our mentality is grow as much as we can outdoors, and then once the geodesic dome from Growing Spaces is up, grow year-round inside of there, as far as our lettuces, our leafy greens, even goji berry can grow year-round, and even go into citrus growing in the dome, because if you maintain the temperature with geothermal, maybe a little bit of propane heat supplementation, but you could do it electric free. The koi pond, which I'm going to have in there, a 2,600 gallon koi pond, and insulated foam concrete, and all the right combinations of things, we could actually grow subtropical plants up here year-round, which I've done it in the basement where you saw with the hyperbaric. I had fruit trees producing fruit down there. I watered them about every other day last winter and kept them alive. It was pretty incredible, and they actually were producing fruit. Not full huge fruit, but they were producing fruit. So that tells me if they have a little more light and, you know, the right conditions and maybe a little bit of high quality fertilizer, then they could actually take off. So really exciting to be able to do all this, you know, all this experimentation and combine all these things, because a lot of people are just apathetic. They just, what do you mean? I just grow my food with well water. You know, if it's producing, it's good enough. You know, I've heard podcast guests say, you know, plants won't grow if they don't have all their nutrients. No, it's like a human. I mean, you could grow a deformed child, you know, from an alcoholic mother, but is that the same thing as a vibrant child? No, the plants are the same thing. So you can grow them on nitrogen, phosphate, potassium, but it doesn't mean that they have vanadium, indium, you know, eubidium, all these other 84 plus known and unknown elements that living organisms need to thrive, because minerals allow enzymes to function. And so my mentality is, well, let's soup up things as much as we can, you know, use shilajit fertilizer, and, you know, a lot of people are using indigenous microorganisms. My friend Charles Barber in Texas is doing a lot of cool stuff on his farm, but you can always take it to the next level. And that's kind of my mentality with human health and with homesteading and growing food. Let's just do it the best we possibly can. And that goes for supplementations as well. You know, the supplements that we take, you know, everything, just try to do the best in life. So that's it. Here's the orchard. I think that's, oh, I guess we can show you the wood here, how we heat the house. Let's just go over there for another little stroll. Oh, right, yeah. Do you want to get the, oh, thanks, Joe. So here's the 1,000-gallon propane tanks, and these are pretty much what ties us to the grid currently, you know, because yeah, you could say you're fully off grid, and I am, but what about when there's no sunlight, like a day like today? That's when we tap into these two guys, which is 1,000 gallons each of propane, and theoretically, realistically, they're about 800 gallons each of propane. So we could say, you know, 1,600 gallons of propane between the two of them, which is a lot. Most houses just have one of these or half the size of these. But every once in a while, I'll come out and check the percentage capacity, and right now we're about 63%. And this runs the generator. Currently, I'm using a Kohler brand generator. This one's at about 80%. And it's way better than relying on the grid for energy, because we could have the worst storm here. We could have a historic snowstorm, unlike anything this area has ever seen. And still, I could be using my hyperbaric. I could still be living in luxury because there's no power lines. There's no power lines to go down. This is underground. It just pulls from the propane, runs the generator, you know, charges the batteries, inverters, you know, send the power to the house, and it's as simple as that. So I like the self-sufficiency aspect, and it's not about being perfect. It's about doing the best you can, and currently this is the best we have available. You know, there's nothing better than solar in this climate, especially where I'm at. There's hydroelectric, you can do wind energy, and I've looked into that up here. It's just not practical. So you know, depending on your environment, that's when you'll tap into different energy sources. Up here, solar is the way to go, and so that's what I'm doing. But yeah, definitely a necessity to have a good generator. I recommend against, do not get Generac, do not get Briggs & Stratton brands. I bought those new and they've broken on me in the middle of winter. So I like Kohler brand is my favorite. I haven't had any issues with it. And there's air cooled versus propane. So I could actually, well, let's walk over there. I can just show you. So when those crappy generators broke, I was running on this Champion, which literally shakes your body if you're anywhere near it. It's just so obnoxiously loud. And this one, you have to manually pour gasoline in there. So in the middle of winter, I was taking my machine down to the gas station, filling gas cans and filling this thing up. It was just a nightmare. I was juggling the podcast and Mitolife and everything. And I was just trying to run my house. So that was not a fun experience. It's a good learning experience, but it wasn't fun. So now I have this beast, which is called an air-cooled machine. And it's actually still warm because I was running it. And it's Kohler. And you have to have this outside. So it has to be outside of a building, because it relies on outside air to keep it cool. But because of the fans, it's very loud. So my next machine, it's a work in progress, but I have to raise up this shed. You know, I rely on experts, just like, you know, we rely on experts to learn about different things. I don't know everything, I don't claim to. So with the generator stuff, I found an expert up here, and his recommendation was to always put it on a stand so that you're able to do oil changes underneath it, and you don't need to crawl underneath it. You could just kneel underneath it, because just like your car, you're going to have to do oil changes on this. You know, you have the dipstick, same thing. So I'm getting a water-cooled machine that's going inside the shed, but it's going to be lifted up. So they're literally going to chop off the shed lift it up higher, so that way with the stand and the generator, it'll fit, because right now this is too short. So I'm going from this one, which is a 15 kW, to a 30 kW. That's kilowatts. So 30,000 watts of generation potential, which is pretty good. So I'm really excited about that, because it means charging the batteries faster, and the main thing is quiet. That's what I care about the most, because even this thing is pretty loud. It's not as loud as that, but it's loud. So up here you like the peace and quiet, and this will be probably a quarter of the noise from this thing. So it'll be a really, really low rumble that I probably won't even be able to hear inside the house. So last part of the tour over here. Is our wood stack. So we have the kindling, and then we have, this is all wood from the property. So we have birch, red fir, tamarack, pine, I mean all sorts of different types of trees out here. And it's really nice to actually heat your home with wood from the property. And I recently just got this thing, which is called the kindling cracker. This is really nice, so you could actually make your own kindling, which it's a lot safer. You know, people say, oh, just use a, you know, when I post this online, they're like, there's so many better ways to do it, just use the back of an axe. I want to keep my fingers. I don't want to hit my hand. I've heard horror stories, people making kindling and losing limbs. So it's about being smart and not hurting yourself. That was a tough one. Yeah, there was a there's a burl in that one. I think I got it, kind of. Yeah, that was a there we go. Yeah, that was a, you can see that. Whew. That was not a good demonstration, but that's the kindling cracker. And then that's a tree I took down. And then here's the rest of the wood that we have to stack. We covered it from the rain right there. A lot of tarps you have to use when you're living this lifestyle. Then of course the chicken coop. We got one laying right there. Gotta be a little calmer, not. And we got the one that's, we got a little injury, so she's in her little hotel right now getting healed up. She had a little infection on her foot, so we took her to the vet and they gave her antibiotics and wrapped her up. So we're kind of isolating her just so she doesn't use that foot, and she seems to be doing pretty well. But we get about roughly 6 eggs a day from them. I have about 12 hens and a rooster. So if they're not hiding the eggs, sometimes we have to go on an Easter egg hunt. Then we have, even in the middle of winter, we have a lot of eggs. Got the outhouse over there, if anyone needs a number 2. Then we got the tractor and the machines, which are really a necessity in the winter. This was my first real machine, the Kubota L35, and has a bucket and a backhoe on it. And a lot of projects on this property, we use this. Actually, the chicken coop was built using the backhoe on this thing. And this is just a machine. I mean, if you get your car stuck, if I get another machine stuck, this is what I'm going for to pull it loose. You just hook a chain up to this thing and you could free up a car in the snow like it's nothing. Then this is the next machine I got. It's another Kubota, great brand, SVL 75. And this has different implements, so you can switch out the bucket for a snowblower, which is really nice in the winter. I've cleared snow with the bucket, and you can float the bucket, and it's real easy. But yeah, you think all these are, you know, just a luxury, but up here they're a necessity. To, you know, just because there's a lot of road to clear, and you don't want to be out here all day. So I'm able to clear it in, you know, 30 minutes to an hour instead of, you know, 6 hours with doing it by hand with a hand push snowblower. And then we actually have the wood splitter right here, which gas powered. If we have rounds, you just put it in here, and it's really quick and easy, which fortunately we had the wood processors cut them into chunks that can go right into the wood stove. This is the snowblower I was talking about. Pretty heavy duty piece of machinery, but this was a game changer for clearing snow up here. We get dumped on with snow, and to have the right equipment, really necessary. So all this costs money. I mean, my message with off-grid living is it's not glamorous, it's not cheap, you don't save money, it's definitely more expensive, but the reward of self-sufficiency and not relying as much, not completely off, but as much on the system is really priceless. We're just really doing our best, and the learning experiences I've had the last, you know, roughly 3 years living off grid have just been tremendous and invaluable. So that's the outside of my off grid property.